This is Jerome Corsi with a video for the members of 1776nation.com. The Democratic National Convention has just ended. Those of you who watched it saw one of the most remarkable demonstrations of really socialist, if not communist, activity disguised as patriotism. I mean, it's appalling to think how far the Democratic Party has come down from the principles of Jack Kennedy, Hubert Humphrey. These were anti-communists. These were people who fought communism, would have nothing to do with the current Democratic Party. I mean, look at the party platform the Democrats were proposing: to eliminate God, to back away from Jerusalem as the capital of Jerusalem. And then the list of lineup of the speakers. A party who is proposing to woo women, to be the supporter of women. At this video that was done, it's remarkable. It's breathtaking. To Ted Kennedy. Does no one remember Chappaquiddick? Mary Jo Kopechne? How about Ted Kennedy's famous waitress sandwich escapades in D.C.? I mean, it goes on and on, the list of disrespect, sexual disrespect for women, abusing women that is in the Kennedy family. And then Bill Clinton giving his hour-long speech and attacking George W. Bush, attacking Mitt Romney, really showing himself to be the superior politician to Barack Obama. You know, the "you're no Bill Clinton" was clearly the theme of the Democratic Party when it came to evaluating Obama's miniature performance compared to his 2008 speech with the Greek columns in the stadium. But Bill Clinton, again, what is this about? Does no one remember Monica Lewinsky? The list goes on. Jennifer Flowers. It goes on and on and on. The really serial abuse of women that was characteristic of Bill Clinton's presidency. The Democrats have amnesia for this, as does the mainstream media, which is really the lapdog now of the radical far left, which is in control of the Democratic Party. I mean, it was amazing to see Cardinal Dolan at the end of the benediction, finally, with a prayer for the unborn, because up until this point in the entire performance of the Democratic Party, all we saw was one after the another. This woman running for Senate out of Harvard who claims she's an Indian. I mean, what, is everybody a Cherokee Indian now? Does everybody want to open up a casino in the Democratic Party? Does it matter if it's truthful? And the support of abortion, promiscuous lifestyles that demand that we as the taxpayers pay for the contraceptives. I mean, these are appalling positions. And what's unstated is the number of Muslim delegates within the Democratic Party who were pushing for the platform provisions to eliminate any reference to the Judeo-Christian God, to eliminate any reference to Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. The Democratic Party has been taken over, has been hijacked by a group of factions, from unions to very radical welfare, essentially just give out government checks, socialists who think that income can just be redistributed. The next thing the Democratic Party is going to start proposing, I guess, is the communist plan to confiscate private property, or the private property itself is intrinsically evil. Anyone watching that convention last week, the Democratic Party, has to come to the conclusion that we are at a crossroads. This is the last stance, as it were, for the defense of liberty, according to the definition of our founding fathers. This Democratic Party, led by Barack Obama, who will not tell you who he is, won't fess up to the communist training he's had, still won't show original 1961 birth certificate documentation, hides behind not releasing his records from any of the schools he attended, including Occidental, where most likely he was registered as Barry Soetoro and a foreign student. That's what Barack Obama told his publicist, who for 16 years published that Barack Obama was born in Kenya. All the inconvenient facts of the Democratic Party are swept under the rug, while George W. Bush is blamed on a proposition the Democrats will never prove, namely that, like jobs created and saved, well, how do you know jobs saved? How do you measure jobs saved? And how much did each of these jobs saved cost? $500,000? We were about to head off a cliff with the George W. Bush recession, and the Democrats saved us. What lies and nonsense. If you remember, the 2008 financial crisis was caused by the bursting of the real estate bubble, which had been pumped up by Democrats ever since the Carter administration, with a series of laws and requirements that banks make subprime loans to homeowners who were unqualified. It's been a Democratic Party theme. Yes, George W. Bush joined in it at the end with his homeowner society, but the beneficiaries of the corruption within Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were Republicans: Franklin Raines, James Johnson, Jamie Gorelick. The list goes on. And the Democrats conveniently forget that it was this plan of putting home ownership in the hands of people who were not qualified economically to own homes that bankrupted the economy, caused the mortgage-backed securities to go into default, precipitated the bank crisis that we experienced in September 2008. Yet that's blamed on George W. Bush, on policies that stem back to the Reagan administration of tax cuts that stimulate the economy. Instead, we get the Saul Alinsky rhetoric of the tax cuts for the rich. No, it wasn't the tax cuts for the rich. It was a Democratic policy that has no basis in economic reason of home ownership for those who can't afford it. That's what bankrupted the economy in 2008 and that we're still struggling for. That's the issue, again, that the Democrats will not tell the truth about. The lying in the Democratic Party is staggering. And Obama's speech was pathetic, hollow, more promises on top of undelivered promises. Yes, they were less grandiose. Well, how could Barack Obama brag of hope and change when the only hope and change we've gotten is massive unemployment, a future of enormous public debt, and the Federal Reserve boosting the stock market by yet another round of the Federal Reserve buying our own debt. We are buying our own debt. That's how corrupt the system has gotten. A liquidity-funded market that cannot create jobs. And in fact, the lies about the number of jobs the Democrats have created, again, the lies go on and on. Clint Eastwood was right. We've got to fire Barack Obama. This is where the Tea Party has got to get engaged. I know it won't be a high-profile effort. The mainstream media is never going to cover it. And again, many of us are not happy that George Romney is the candidate. We all would wish for more conservative candidates. Many are still, and rightly so, concerned that Ron Paul was not given his fair share within the Republican Party. But the point is, yes, we've got to fight to the Republican Party next. But the Democratic Party, if Barack Obama wins re-election, the pace at which freedoms are going to be lost, the acceleration of the corruption in the public schools, where we have a society of voters today who don't even know the colonial history. I mean, yes, Dinesh D'Souza's movie is communicating that point, but I exposed in 2008 in The Abomination that it was the colonial rage, the Frantz Fanon writings of Algeria, the psychiatrist who in the 50s recommended that blacks kill whites as a therapeutic way to reverse colonialism. This is what Obama has embraced, what he's written about in his own autobiography. And again, the American people don't understand even what the colonial era was. Our public schools are not educating our children at all on American history or American values. And if the Democratic Party has its way, the drift from God will be complete. We'll have a godless society, a godless secular society that is down far on the road to socialism, with no education of our children, no fundamental realization of the values that made America an exceptional country in the first place. It's why the Tea Party must not sit out this election. We've got to fight. We've got to fight that Obama loses. Not so much that Mitt Romney wins. He always begged to write a book that could have derailed the Romney candidacy. I chose not to write it because I thought, given the progression of the extent to which our society has gone soft and leftist, that the battle would come down to this middle electorate who would in fact be easier voting for a Romney because he will not scare them as much as a centrist. That's the reality of the politics we're dealing with. But I have no hesitation, if there is a President Romney, to go to the White House and remind him and his advisors that the book I did not once write, I could yet write. That we could, in fact, have a reason to expose Obama, not only Obama, but Romney's past, unless Romney repudiates that past in a fundamental way when he becomes President Romney. The one thing that encourages me is the selection of Paul Ryan as vice presidential candidate, and the possibility that Paul Ryan, if Romney succeeds, could be placed on the track himself to be a future president. The Democrats are going to lie, cheat, steal, all the way till the election is held in November. We're going to fight vote fraud after we fight the entire lying message the Democrats are going to put out, blaming Bush for their own inadequacies. The Tea Party is the only thing really in America today that stands between the true danger, which is the fundamental loss of all of our freedoms, economic freedoms, religious freedoms, freedoms our founding fathers articulated in the Declaration of Independence, in the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights, or this headlong plunge into a form of socialism that will be economically catastrophic, as well as totally destructive of our fundamental values. It's why I'm calling again, after the Democratic Convention is over, that the Tea Party must go to work in the battleground states, must get involved, even working for Romney, must get to the point of volunteering, campaigning, not just voting. Because the Democrats are going to have a massive and organized electronic and sophisticated get-out-the-vote effort, which will include voter fraud. Don't doubt it. So we must have poll watchers. We must be prepared to be vigilant in this election and to get those who want to turn back the Obama agenda out to vote. We'll be reporting. And there's coming a phase. I want you to watch WND.com. Watch 1776nation.com. Sheriff Arpaio's investigation is not over. It's continuing. The Tea Party must watch the new information that we're going to begin publishing in September and October. The new findings from the Arpaio law enforcement investigation. There are yet shocking revelations coming. We need to raise money for this. But the message of this video is not just simply to contribute. It's really to get involved. The Tea Party can't sit this out. The Tea Party must back Romney regardless of whether the Tea Party at this point or other is in favor of Romney ultimately. Ron Paul and his message has been heard, and it's going to be heard more. We have the prospect of a opportunity. It's clear that the Obama administration is going to go headlong off the cliff, burning the Constitution, not caring about our fundamental freedoms, and it will very quickly be impossible to resist. Don't think that it'll be so bad under an Obama second term that people will finally wake up. The dependence on government, which is now 50% of the people receiving government checks, is only going to deepen. This has got to be resisted. This is an election that we cannot afford to lose. The Democrats must be repudiated. It's a fundamental crossroads opportunity for liberty, for freedom, for the dream that our founding fathers brought forth in this nation. If we're going to continue that dream, have any chance to recover that dream, it's going to be defeating Obama. The way to defeat Obama is electing Romney. That's the strategy. If there's a President Romney, we'll deal with that next. That's a challenge I welcome. Be happy to go into Washington, get credentials in the White House, report directly with pressure on a Romney administration to adhere to the principles that the Tea Party truly believes in. But we cannot do this without the Tea Party's involvement. It's why I'm making this plea. The Democratic National Convention is over. It's time now for the Tea Party to engage and defeat Barack Obama. We can do it. We must do it. God bless you. And I look forward to reporting as we continue through this campaign on developments which I believe and pray will spell the removal of Barack Obama from office peacefully, quietly, but firmly. Thank you very much.